All right, today is day 62 of my 100 days of eating nothing but Keto Chow. Yeah, it's Monday morning. I'm actually really tired today. In fact, not just tired, I'm actually sleepy, which is abnormal for me because I've even normally I'm going by now. I think it might have something to do with how late I ate last night, but anyway, we'll get to that in a second. It's kind of funny to me. Anytime I fail to mention how much weight I've lost in one of these videos, I always get a somewhat frantic, well, how much weight have you lost? Okay, that's okay. I miss it maybe half the time, but I think I probably don't put it in every time because how much I'm losing has nothing to do with how much you will lose or anybody else will lose, because we're all in different metabolic states. So yeah, that said, right now on day 62, I'm down 30.4 pounds from when I started on January 2nd. Again, that does not indicate how much you will lose if you decide to go crazy like me and eat only Keto Chow for 100 days. But you might. I don't know. It is what it is. So let's go over some of the numbers. I have a handy cheat sheet here because I got a couple numbers I'm going over. On Saturday, which was my first day of just avocado oil with no heavy cream, my blood ketones were at 3.5 millimolars per liter. According to Heads Up Health, I'm averaging 2.6 millimolars per liter over the last 30 days. That's cool. It's not necessarily something that you have to get that high of numbers, but it does, of course, indicate that what I am eating is conducive to ketogenesis, and it works for a ketogenic diet. So, yay. Anytime somebody gets all up on me about, for instance, on Saturday, that same day that I got a 3.5, my wife and I went to dinner with my parents and two of our sons to Texas Roadhouse. She got steak and shrimp and all this other stuff. I got a Coke Zero with lemon and lime. And the keto police will get all up about, oh, you can't have aspartame and that's just awful and diet soda will kill your dog. And as I said in yesterday's post, stick it up your ear. Because if I'm getting 3.5 on my blood ketones, then there is nothing wrong with my personal metabolic state and the way that my body works and artificial sweeteners such as aspartame in Coke Zero. So there you go. That's one good reason why I'm tracking blood ketones. So anyway, in Heads Up Health, it'll give you what's called your glucose ketone index. That's a comparison of how much glucose you have in your blood expressed in millimolars per liter, which we usually don't use millimolars per liter in the United States. Elsewhere in the rest of the world, that's what they do. You'll hear people talk about they have a blood glucose of like 2.0 or 4.6 or 5.0 or whatever. That's using the same measurement numbers that we usually use for ketones. Anyway, Heads Up Health will convert it from milligrams per deciliter. I think that's what we use here in the U.S. for glucose. Converting it from that into the same measurement as ketones, and then give you a ratio of how much glucose you have versus how much ketones you have. If you have a 1 to 2 ratio, which would give you a 1.5, I think. Is that right? What it would be? I don't remember. Anyway, if you have that, if you have a 1.5 or a 1 to 2, that means you have twice as much glucose in your blood as you do ketones, which is actually kind of hard to get. A ratio of 1, a 1.0, that's really hard to get, and below 1 is what you would want for cancer treatment or epilepsy, where you need therapeutic levels of ketones. And so it's interesting, that's not an absolute measurement of the amount of ketones in your blood. That's how much ketones there are versus how much glucose, which is an interesting comparison. So for the last 30 days, my ketone glucose index has been 1.7. Okay, that's cool as well. Means my glucose is low and my ketones are high. Awesome. There's more information about that on the Heads Up Health blog. Heads Up Health, by the way, is kind of a centralized dashboard where it pulls data from a whole bunch of different sources and throws it all up there for you to look at. It ties into, in this case, it ties into blood tests that I get from LabCorp, my doctor's stuff from my doctor's office, for my primary care physician, I think I just said position, that was weird. Pulls data from my Oura Ring, pulls data from my Wi-Fi scale, pulls data from Chronometer, pulls data from Fitbit, from a whole bunch of different sources, and just gives you a centralized location. It's not free, it's not especially expensive though, and it gives you interesting data. So, and I'm using it to track my biometrics during this experiment. So, there you go. Anyway, I am down 30.4 pounds since the beginning of the 100-day experiment here on day 62. That means that I'm averaging, it's almost half a pound of weight loss over the last 62 days. That's cool. It's like 49.03. Again, that doesn't mean that that's how much you would lose if you do the same thing. You might actually lose more, or you might lose less. I'm a 6'1" guy, and I had enough to lose. So if you were, well, like Beverly, who is also posting her blog updates and her experience and all the stuff that she's got going on, she hasn't lost nearly that much. She actually has lost more than she thought that she would, because she was starting out at like 132. Last time I checked, she was about 125, which is a significant amount of weight loss as far as percentage of body weight goes. So anyway, it's interesting. I've lost 11.5 pounds in the last 30 days, keeping the 30-day theme. And I didn't get enough sleep last night, as I mentioned. Based on how I feel, I think I would have slept in until about 9 o'clock this morning, rather than when the alarm went off at 5:20, so that we could get the kids up and going and ready for school. So yeah, according to Oura, my ring, I'm averaging 6.48 hours of sleep over the last 90 days. So I need to get that up. I did finish the day yesterday. Oh wait, no. Today I'm going to finish the day with 1.8 grams of net carbs. I've got chocolate mint, raspberry cheesecake, and chocolate toffee. Wait. No, yesterday I had chocolate mint. Today I'm not having chocolate mint. And so that's why today I'm going to be 1.7. Yesterday I was at 1.8 because I did have chocolate mint. And it has slightly higher carbohydrates, not much, because it has a little bit of cocoa powder in it. And speaking of yesterday, I didn't actually drink my first bottle of Keto Chow until it was almost 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. It's really funny. There is a much longer discussion about this in yesterday's post. If you haven't checked that out yet, please do. But it's been interesting. I switched from heavy cream to avocado oil for all my fat. I'm currently doing, I think it's 60 milliliters of avocado oil, which puts me pretty close. I think it's like 1,800 some odd calories. And even right now, I'm not hungry at all. Yesterday, I drank the one, and I was like, well, I'm done, but I'm doing very tightly controlled variables during this experiment. And so I needed to make sure I hit my calories for the day, despite the fact that I wasn't hungry, which is not something that you want to do, by the way. The idea on a ketogenic diet is under 20 grams of carbohydrates, protein to satisfy your lean body mass requirements, and there's a lot of calculators that'll tell you how much that is. And then fat to satiety. And if you're not hungry, don't eat. And I'm completely thumbing my nose at that advice right now during this experiment because I'm trying to control variables. I was talking with somebody yesterday and they said, "Hey, how are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm cold." They're like, "Okay, that was weird." And we were talking back and forth a bit. And anyway, I mentioned that one way you can get warm is to eat more calories. And compared to the last couple, actually months during this experiment, during the avocado oil phase right now, I bumped my calorie intake from like 1650 per day up to almost 1900 per day. So I'm eating almost 300 more calories a day. And I don't know if it's the additional 300 calories that has me really sated, or I mean the satiety is there, or if it's just the avocado oil, because there's something different about avocado oil as far as I'm concerned, as far as how much it fills me up. Now my wife is exactly the opposite. When she drinks Keto Chow made with heavy cream, it fills her up more than when she drinks it with avocado oil. So bio-individuality at its best. Anyway, so I wasn't really very hungry yesterday after I drank the one at about 3 o'clock, but I needed to maintain the same number of calories per day for the experiment for the 2 weeks that I'm doing avocado oil. So I drank another one while everyone else was having pork belly that I made in the oven. Looked fantastic. My wife said, "Oh, it's terrible." I think she was trying to make me feel better. The kids liked it though. It was originally 5 pounds of pork belly. They devoured 4 of those pounds. So we had a little bit of leftovers, not as much as I thought we were going to have. We actually were calling around our neighborhood to see if we could find someone to come eat dinner with us because there was so much pork belly. In the end, I guess we were okay. But so they have a little bit of leftovers. Anyway, so I drank my second Keto Chow during dinner. And then while we were watching the series of unfortunate events on Netflix, which is fantastic, by the way, way better than the travesty movie that they had Jim Carrey in a couple of years ago. But anyway, so watched that, drank my last one, and oh boy was I full. And like I said, I think that might have something to do with why I'm so tired this morning. I really don't like eating that late. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a little dragging this morning, but aside from that, well, the experiment's going well. And yeah, and like I said, there's a really long update yesterday, so you should check that out if you missed it. Normally my Sunday posts are really short. That one was posted on Sunday. Technically, I recorded it very late Saturday night, which I think is why it was so long. Anyway, so that's today. See you guys tomorrow for day 63. That's the day before we leave for Low Carb Denver and the Boulder Carnivore Conference that Amber O'Hearn is putting on. That'll be interesting because I'll be the guy drinking Keto Chow at the Carnivore Conference. Anyway, so long.